Cavs fans, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm recording this before the game's even over. I turn it off as soon as it hit 40 points and all the guys were out. Um, Brutal game. Kind of just at this point making me feel like the first two games didn't mean shit. Um, I'm going to go through some stuff about the game, stats, all that. And if you've watched any other Cavs people talk about the last two games and specifically game two, in the second half, the Cavs still struggled with this where they were getting blitzed. Donovan Mitchell got blitzed every time he ran a pick and roll. And for this team to not figure out how to beat this in after seeing it work in game two and all last season versus the Knicks in the playoffs, it killed this team and we just couldn't generate any sort of offense whatsoever. That's not the biggest issue, but it's one of them. I'm going to touch on that first. We have to figure out how to beat this. I saw a couple people say that Sam Merrill being in would help this. I think that does help. I don't know if it's enough. Um, I think Darius Garland just has to be more aggressive. And then the third thing is stop running so many ball screens then. Just get Donovan Mitchell in a flow to where he can just isolate a little bit. He's a good enough isolation player to go, and I understand the magic of great perimeter defenders, but they're not even putting the best one on Donovan Mitchell. They're putting Jalen Suggs on Darius Garland. And I just don't understand how this can still be a thing. But it's one of those things where you just have to be able to figure this out. And then the one way you do beat it, and the reason I think the other reason with the Knicks series is you have to be spaced and you have to be able to hit shots. If you're not making shots, you can't do anything. The two guys we brought in this offseason to hit shots and actually make a difference on this team, and I think they have, but not as much as I would like. Max Strus in game one had 7 points, 1 for 5 from three. Game two, 7 points, 2 for 7 from the floor, 1 for 5 from three. Game three, 0 for 4 from three, 4 points. George Niang, game one, 5 points, but he was 1 for 7 from the floor, 0 for 4 from three. Game two, 0 points, 0 for 4 from three. Game three, 0 points, 0 for 4 from the floor, 0 for 1 from three. George Niang is 0 for 9 from three. Max Strus is 2 for 14. It just simply won't cut it. I know the percentages in each of the games is low for every team except for this game. This is the first game this series where we've seen a team actually shoot the ball well, and it opened up so much more for them. The Cavs in game one shot 26% from three, 8 for 30. In game two, 30.8%. And then in game three today, 17% by the time I turned it off. So not good numbers. Like this team should be sitting anywhere from 36 to 40% is good 3-point shooting for this team. They have the guys to do it. Donovan Mitchell can't buy a three couldn't buy a three in this game. Darius Garland couldn't buy a basket really in this game. He started off looking pretty good, but then he just stalled out. Max Strus still can't hit threes. George Niang still can't take threes. We even put Sam Merrill in the first half for once, which I was very happy about. But you didn't even get him a shot before you pulled him. How does that happen? That guy touches it and it goes up. How do you not get him a shot? I don't even feel like he touched the ball one possession in the first half when he was in. It's just one of those things where it's a head scratching moment. I don't understand how this team can continue to neglect some of its best players, and especially in this series when shooting is going to be a premium because the defense in the paint is so good for both teams. You need to be able to hit outside shots. And today, the Magic did it. Shot at the time I'm recording this, I don't know what's going on in the background, but 34.5%. That's an actual NBA team shooting percentage. Like, that's a real night from three. Game two and one, 21.6% in game one and 25.7 in game two. Like, those percentages are very low, even for the Magic. So, like, they're not a good shooting team, and I don't expect this to continue where they shoot 35% because I think the Cavs are good enough defensively to get out there and close out enough to make them miss. The issue is they're at home. This is the game. You go down 0-3, you're done. There's no way, and you've lost all your spirit. This is the game they had to come out and fight for their lives, and boy, did they do it. They did it. The only good player on the Cavs tonight for me personally was Jared Allen. I think he still played very good basketball. I think those moments where in the first quarter they just kept getting offensive rebound after offensive rebound. They had 10 shot attempts before you had 4. It can't happen. And they did what we did to them. They punched us in the mouth to start the game. And it was just one of those things where once they start hitting and the crowd gets into it, that's what happens. Young guys and role players at home just hit more shots when they're at home with the crowd behind them. It's just how it goes. And it's just frustrating because this team hasn't shot well in what feels like months. And even in the playoffs, we've just been distracted with the wins and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley inside. Even myself, I'm saying this now, but we haven't been able to hit shots. And it's not like the Magic are closing out on us big time. We're missing pretty regular routine looks for these guys. Like George Niang's getting his pump fake one dribble shot, and he's not making it. Max Strus is getting his catch and shoots on the left and right wing. He's not making it. Donovan Mitchell is taking really contested threes between two people, but when he's open, he's making them. If we swing it around more, we just get better looks. And for me, the number one thing is I ride and die with Darius Garland forever. But the amount of times he goes and snakes around the big and doesn't put up a shot attempt on the way down on a pick and roll, because they're not blitzing Darius, they're only blitzing Donovan Mitchell. So the way to beat the blitz, if you're Donovan Mitchell, is to either pump fake high, bounce low. Sorry, I know the audio probably just went berserk, but bounce high or fake high, bounce low to the wing. Then that rotates this defender. Then you have a swing to the corner for an open three or a drive, and then a baseline, one more three ball every time. But if you can't do that, and Donovan just kept trying to force it into the middle, it got tipped multiple times, and it's just one of those things where you have to be able to beat that. And then for Darius, you're not getting blitzed. You have to be the engine of this offense. You have to go and attack the hoop. You have to just go and shoot your floater, stop on a dime and shoot a midi. Every time he shoots a midi, it looks like it's going in every time. And they're dropping so far back because they know he's not going to shoot the ball. It's one of those weird things where if you told me coming into this playoff series, Darius Garland would look like the fourth best player on the court for the Cavs, I'd be like, what? He's our second best player easily. Jared Allen has been phenomenal. And I thought that was going to be my biggest concern with how he would deal with the size of Orlando. They're not the biggest, strongest guys, which favors Jared Allen, but they're tall and he's dominated. But Darius just has to be more aggressive. He's talented enough to go and shoot a floater or shoot a mid range and hit it at a 50% clip. He just is. And if there's a game where he needs to shoot the ball 22 times, please do it. We need it. It's just offensive possessions that I understand the philosophy. We don't really want to shoot a ton of middies, but these are floaters. These are basically layups. Like those are the things that we just have to figure out going forward. Um, Strus and Niang need to be able to hit shots, and if they're not, put in a Markieff Morris, put in a Sam Merrill. These it's the playoffs. These guys don't have the same leash they get in the regular season. I know Niang's played solid defense on Paulo, who I know I'm just only talking about the Cavs, and I'm going to talk about the Magic quickly, but the Yanks played good defense in Paulo, but at a certain point, it's not going to matter. Paulo was fucking amazing today. This by far and away his best game. Jalen Suggs also amazing. Like the shots these guys were hitting were the looks that we want to force them into. So I'm not totally mad about where the Magic were getting their shots, but a lot of those mid ranges were tough post up fadeaways, step backs, and for this team, and they were all pretty contested too. So like it's not like they're bigs and deep drop and they're just pulling up. Like they're isolating and then shooting. This team is not built to do that over the course of a 7-game series. So I'm fine with how the Cavs defense looked in those scenarios. But there was still too many times where they just had too much open space on the 3-point line, or I mean, they really just made shots. That's what it comes down to. They just finally made shots. And my thing is, hey, is that going to continue? I would expect it to at home. I don't know if there's no way they shoot 55% again or whatever they ended up shooting at the end of this game. But if they go and can be around that 45% mark, and so can the Cavs, which I think is an average, it's probably going to be around 40%, 43% for both teams. That favors the Cavs. You just simply have to make shots. They just hit better, more contested and tougher looks than you did today. You didn't make your tough looks and you didn't make your easy ones. So that's what the game came down to me. It's just one of those things where I wish they made shots, and I'm expecting them to in game 4. I'm excited for game 4. I think that's the measuring stick game. Are you going to come out and get smacked again? They fought for their lives today. Now I want you to fight for your fucking lives, and I want you to go and show them that this game was just a fluke. It was a rough game. We just couldn't hit anything, and now we're gonna come out and shoot like Miami just did versus Boston. And let's hit 23s. But that's it for my game 3 reaction. If you guys are Cavs fans, please stick around and subscribe because we're trying to grow the Cavs fan base here. We got a lot of you guys already, but I just want to get this going, and I might be live streaming games at some point. I don't know, once my classes end in a few weeks. Hopefully, we're still in at that point. But like, comment, subscribe, and peace.